She's a conservative and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money. And we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head but are too scared to say out loud. Hey, Jolene.
Hello, Nicole. This topic really kind of happened naturally because we were recording something else and we started talking about what we thought the government should do. And I said, well, what do you think what role does the government have in this? And you gave your answer and I'm like, what? No, that is not absolute. Do you really think that's what the government is?
Not only
is?
that,
And
you will never, no one will ever see what you did, but your eyes popped out of your head in a way that I laughed out loud.
I'm like, I can't believe we've been talking.
Right.
Have we done 35 episodes or something? 40?
At least. And you're like, that's what you think the role of government does? Right.
This is and this is kind of fundamental in
Yes.
the difference between Republicans and Democrats. So I'm like, holy cow, this is an episode right here.
Yes.
So can we tell the rest of the story? The rest of the story is, and I know we're going to get into it, but the rest of the story is, so I started going, wait a second. The government was about the foundations of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you're like, well, that's not the Constitution. Yeah, but isn't that and all of a sudden, both of us 56-year-olds were like, damn, we need to go back to fifth grade social studies. Because, what was the Bill of Rights?
I mean, I studied American history in high school, and then I actually studied it in college. I went back and I don't ever remember reading the Constitution or reading the Declaration of Independence. And so what did I do in preparation for this episode? I read them both. It doesn't mean I necessarily understand them, but I found it very enlightening, very interesting. And then, it does help to be married to a lawyer who studied American law. And that's
constitutional law.
Constitutional law. And so I've had some good conversations with him of really trying to understand. But just the idea of, well, what do you think the government's role should be? And I think it'll be interesting to talk about it today, too, because it might not even be a Republican or Democrat thing. In some ways, I felt like as I'm reading the Constitution, as I'm reading the Declaration of Independence, I'm thinking, well, what do I believe? What do I experience personally? What do I witness? I might have privileges and rights that other people don't. That kind of thing. It's just to talk about this stuff broadly, I think is really important because I think as everyday people, we don't think about it.
Right.
I mean, it's a broad statement. It's a generalization, or take things for granted too. I think.
Yes. And I think it's so interesting, too, as I was doing my research and looking back and educating myself as a fifth grader. And let's be honest, anything I learned in college, I probably didn't remember anything because maybe I went to class, maybe I didn't. So, I mean, I'm relying more on my fifth grade social studies than I would be in any of my college education.
That says nothing about the University of Iowa, just of your work ethic and college.
100%. Let's be honest. That was completely on me, not a reflection of the education I got at the University of Iowa. But I think it's interesting to see what the framework of the Constitution was back in, 250 years ago. And what it is today, how it's evolved today, and that there's still the same, the Federalists versus the Anti-Federalists. I mean, that's still where we are today. So
That's right.
It's so interesting.
That's right.
So good. Let's get into it.
So what do you believe is the fundamental role of government?
So as a conservative, I think it is to provide order, security, and services that the states can't provide on their own.
Okay, that sounded very formal, and that you were reading it.
I am reading it because I took notes as I was reading. So yes.
Okay, cool. But what do you believe? Because I'm like, that's very fancy, miss. I didn't study in college.
And that was 30 years ago. So 40 years ago. How many? So no, I believe that the role of the government is to provide, because I believe in states' rights. And that the role of the federal government needs to be very, very broad so that the states can make more of their decisions, their laws, their statutes, their regulations to provide for the people in their states. Because as we go back to our founding fathers, it was basically farmers versus the urban people. I mean, they were two different people, and they realized that they were two different people. So as we were starting our government, they had to say, well, what was good for you in Virginia is going to be a little bit different from you in Pennsylvania. And so that's why they gave states' rights so much more leeway. They gave them the ability to make their own laws. But then they realized that the federal government we still needed a national defense. We still needed taxation for roads and bridges. And we needed to have a strong national government, but that most of the decisions need to go to the state level. The federal government is to provide order, security, and services that the states can't do on their own.
How this all came up is you said to me in the last episode, you said, I believe that the government is there to protect us. And I said, where do you see that? And your eyes bugged out of your head, and you were like, it's in the Constitution. But then you started quoting the Declaration of Independence, and I'm just sitting there going, I was just sort of like, I don't think I've ever thought about this. Ever. Really. Yeah. And yes, actually, in the Constitution, now that I've read it, it does say that it is there, the government is there to protect us. But as personally, I was thinking about, yes, in terms of national defense, if a foreign power tried to attack us, that we would be protected in that way. I think about, though, I remember being interested in politics from the time I was 10 years old. I had a very political family. My dad had been a Republican and now is actually a Democrat. My mom was a Democrat, and so we would talk politics all the time. So I was around it as a kid. I remember in 6th grade doing a faux election, and it was Reagan, Carter, and Anderson. And Anderson ran as an independent, and he won in Bel Air class of 6th grade. Anderson was the president. There was an enormous fear that I had about Reagan. I was scared that there was going to be I can't say this word, nuclear war. And so I thought, well, then I guess I didn't feel very protected personally as a little 11-year-old kid. So when I think about the day-to-day, I think about the government similarly to you in that it is there to provide structure so that we aren't constantly in chaos. Maybe I don't think of it as, because when I think of the word protection, I think of a more warm and fuzzy word of I feel safe. And I don't necessarily feel safe right now with what's going on in the administration. Now, as a white person of privilege, do I feel safe? Yes. But what I'm seeing in this administration with some people in this country are not having as easy a time as I am or you are. One thing that being married to a lawyer who loves American history, he reminded me or explained to me, because I don't remember studying this, and I'm sure that this is true, and maybe you know this already, so that the Declaration of Independence was written in 1776. And then there was a thing called the Articles of Confederation that was for 11 years before the Constitution was written. And the Articles of Confederation didn't work. And so it made me think about what you had said at the beginning of this conversation, that at the time, each state had their own militia, everything was basically autonomous. Yeah, and it didn't work because some states had more money than other states, and they had to figure out how is this all going to work together? And like the Senate now, each state gets 2 senators because the senators are the ones that are really supposed to do the bulk of the work. And then you've got the representatives that are based on population.
Right. So then in 1787,
Yes.
they go to Philly. They have
Yes.
the Constitutional Convention.
Yes.
And they come up with the Bill of Rights, and they go, "Oh, yep, okay, we need to kind of hone in on this." And that's really kind of where then we came up with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the whole deal. Okay?
Yes. And they formed a republic, which is a form of democracy. And it was written so that people had to be able to talk to each other, had to be able to debate, and had to be able to compromise.
Yeah.
And I think that we've forgotten that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So so let's talk specifically about the different roles of the government.
Okay.
Do you think that the very first one I wrote down here was protecting our rights and our freedoms? Number 1, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and protect individuals from unfair treatment. So to me, I'm going, yep, freedom of the press and free speech. I mean, fundamental. Obviously, we've talked about this in the last episode. That is absolutely the difference between us and Russia, us and China, us. I mean, there's no getting around it. And both sides need to be okay with that and stop. And stop. You can
Both
have
sides
consequences,
meaning Republicans and
Republicans and Democrats, because it's whoever's in power then wants to say that, the other doesn't have the right to say that. Bull. There should be consequences of your actions and consequences of what you say. And if you get taken off of the air because you said something, or if people don't vote for you because you said something that they don't like, that's the consequences of your language. But you absolutely have the right to say it. And then there's going to be people that agree with you. And that's their right to agree with you. So I just don't,
So we both agree
free speech.
that free speech, no matter if we don't like it or how hateful it is, or we feel it's hateful, we are allowed to say that it's a fundamental right. It's the first right of this country.
Okay. Number 2, providing security and defense. I think this goes back, they realized that they needed a national army to defend ourselves from foreign threats. But the other thing that I think comes into this is protecting our borders and our national security. What do you think of that?
I don't disagree with you. And this is going to go back into immigration because I think so many of our episodes it's obviously an issue on the right and the left. I personally think we've done this wrong. Not you and me, but our country. I think that none of us want a completely open border. As we've talked about so many times, the immigration system is so broken, like they're so backlogged, and it's a complete mess.
Yep.
I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other day about being afraid to go to Chicago and living in New York City. And my heart breaks that you feel that way. I am making an assumption that you are getting really upsetting and scary images fed to you about downtown Chicago. And I would imagine that people are getting fed very scary images about all of the cities. And I think one of the things that I've been thinking so much about it, because I sent you that video recently of the New York Times. It's a horrific video of an ICE officer throwing this woman to the ground who's begging him to not take her husband away. And her kids are there. And you're seeing the press taking pictures, not helping, which is a really complicated thing. Josh wanted to be a photojournalist and thought, I can't do it because you can't help.
Yeah.
You're a witness, right? And how just heart-wrenching this is. It's gotten so broken, and the way I feel, and I think I can speak for a lot of liberals, the way the Trump administration is handling the immigration process with ICE and saying they're going to go after criminals, and then they're going to immigration court where people are trying to do it legally and yanking them away is not okay. I want to say, as a liberal, we need to fix the immigration problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay if people come across the border illegally. I don't think it's okay. There are so many people that are doing it legally. Respect the process. But we as Americans really need to clean this up. Really need to figure this out. And so I've been thinking,
agree.
right? And I've been thinking about when you had mentioned you liked the idea that the National Guard was going into D.C. and possibly going into Chicago, and that you were feeling afraid of going to Chicago.
I think Chicago is a high crime city. I didn't think twice about going. I mean, I'm going to go because I have to for work.
Right.
And I have to be a part of this show, the trade show that we're going to. But I'm going to be really aware of my surroundings. I am not going to, as I'm sure you do in New York. I mean, as I would be in Kansas City, as we did in New Orleans. You know, I think I'm not going to be an idiot about it and go out at 2 a.m. and be stupid. But I think it's such a high crime city that there is a better likelihood of being involved in a crime in Chicago than there is in, I don't know, name the city.
Lampy, Missouri.
I mean, for sure, Lampy, Missouri. But I mean, so to say I'm afraid to go to Chicago is probably a little overstated.
Okay.
But is there a horrible crime rates in Chicago right now? Yeah.
So I'm not going to disagree with you here. And I was thinking because I've been really thinking about this and living in New York City, and New York City, I don't know what the stats are, and I'm not going to pretend that I know what the stats are, and stats get us into trouble. But what I can say as a New Yorker, it feels more unhinged here since the pandemic. And I have been here 34 years, and you do have to walk around the city just hypervigilant anyway. You just do,
right.
Especially as a woman, as a small woman. But I would say that just me walking around in my life, I have to be vigilant about it.
Right.
I'm thinking about, do our cities need help? Yes. And I'm going to propose that as a liberal and other liberals, I think one of the things that's really hard about Trump saying we're going in, I see this crime city, we're going in, is if we are a United States and we are more about states' rights, which I am with you on that, the governors, we need to respect our governors. And they do really good, hard work every day. And what I would like to ask of Trump and his administration, and I think you would get less pushback, less protest, is that before Trump posts on social media what he's going to do and doesn't talk to Congress and he's just doing it, he's just doing his way.
Yeah.
Have meetings with Pritzker, with Hochul, with Newsom, with whomever. I don't know the governor of Tennessee, forgive me, Memphis. But with these governors and say, listen, there's a crime problem here and I want to help. Do you want my help? If you don't want my help, I would like to encourage you to start working on it. But if you do want my help, let's work together. Then that to me is revolutionary. That even a democratic state can go, interesting. We could use those dollars or that manpower to help us. But the way he's doing it makes us blue states get our backs up and go, whoa, 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 this feels a little tyrannical, and we don't want this.
So I agree with you. And there was just a thing on Instagram that I saw where the governor of Oregon, she's a Democrat, and she has said that Trump reached out to her and said, I want to send the National Guard. And she said, no, thank you. We're going to take care of it. I have faith in our local and state enforcement agencies that we're going to be able to take care of this ourselves. And that Trump said, okay, let's continue to talk. And she said that was the exchange back and forth. And I went, well, now that's beautiful. That is a beautiful, to your point. That is exactly
and that works for me.
How it should be done.
And
I think that's also why that Trump said he'd go into Memphis, because Tennessee has a Republican governor, and so he knew that he would have his backing, his support. The governor would support Trump bringing them in, whereas a lot of the blue states, aren't going to do that. But I think it's such a divided time right now too that Gavin Newsom, no way is he going to ask Trump for help, or Pritzker.
Well, here's the thing, Jolene.
They're both going to run for president, and then they look weak. That they had to rely on the national government.
I think that's too bad, because Oregon is also blue, and she had the guts to say no, thank you. Maybe at some point she'll say, actually, I need some help. We can't do this alone. I am so tired, and I think you are too, but I'll just speak for myself. I am so tired of Democrats just saying no to say no, instead of stopping a second saying, maybe I could use some help. Maybe it's more important to think about my constituents, how it helps my people, than what does this look like? Is this going to make me look weak or look bad or look da-da-da? But I also wish that Trump would knock it off.
So
just
at what point, though?
Because you keep saying to me that he says some reasonable things and he could be reasonable. So show me.
Okay, so at what point does the Oregon mayor then say, we've been dealing with Portland, horrible crime in Portland, and the looting and the riots and all that and the unrest for 5 years. So at what point does she get some help?
I don't know. I don't live in Portland, and I have friends that are in Portland. There was definitely a lot of protests, obviously, during COVID and Black Lives Matter and all of that stuff. I know there's an enormous homeless problem there. But I think that it's a conversation that we have to honor the governors. The governors are there for a reason. And what I would like of conservatives, too, to also speak up and say, wait a second, we believe in states' rights. We need to push back a little bit and say, yo, Trump, we're not saying no because he hates no and then he makes shit worse. But let us do our thing. Or, you know what? We have neglected this part. And you're shedding a light on it, and we really have to deal with it. I want to give the governors the benefit of the doubt that this stuff is really hard. And yes, there has been an influx of populations in these blue cities of immigrants, and what do? And because we're so divided, there is no wiggle room in saying, this isn't really working. What do we do?
Right.
Right?
Is that the role of the federal government to go in there then and say, okay, we've given you 5 years to figure this out and you can't do it.
Well,
we're going to help.
He wasn't the president. He was the president in 2020, and then he was the president now. So there was all Biden in between, right? So we have to, in my opinion, we have to start from January 20th of this year, where he's like, this is an issue that's really important to me, and I want our cities to feel safe, and I want our citizens to feel safe. How could that be a bad thing? And then you go, and I just, part of it to me, and we've talked about this before, is that he just wants instant gratification. He just wants it to go so fast. And this stuff, you got to work together. Like, here's the thing, and maybe this is a far-reaching thing, but like, yes, the Ukraine-Russia war is not an overnight thing. This is really hard and really complicated. The Israeli-Gaza situation, really hard and really complicated. It doesn't happen overnight. Neither does crime in the States, and you've got to work together. And I think he wants some instant results, and unfortunately, it's just not how it works. But that's what he's doing.
Well, I disagree with that because
Okay.
I think you're right. In typical government fashion, everything is so slow, and we've got to make sure that we, what do you want to do? Well,
Right.
I want to, blah, blah, blah. So I think Trump's got in there and went, let's go. Let's get some stuff done here. And he's going like a chicken with his head cut off, but he's getting things done.
But it's not the way the
And-
Constitution was written. Like, we have to respect. I am with you, girl, that it's too slow, but there has to be a middle ground.
Yes. And that's why when we get down to the balance of power, the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branch, to make sure that there is not tyranny in our country, that is really has got to be respected. And so I get why Democrats think that he, acts like a king, but I also have faith in our system that the checks and balances will prevent anything from getting out of hand. I look at the poor people of Portland and go, if you're okay with it, I mean, I wouldn't live there, but I mean, if you all are okay with your mayor and your governor continuing to do business as usual, then I guess that's up to you guys to figure out. And if you want change, vote for somebody differently.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're doing that in New York City. And I just, obviously I think about you all the time. And I was walking around last night and I'm like, it's not the same city. And cities change, obviously, and hopefully there'll be a resurgence again. But I don't know what that looks like. I'm not happy with the people I'm going to have to vote for in November. I'm not happy at all. And I think we are suffering here.
Have you made your decision who you're going to vote for?
Nope.
Oh, gosh.
We were just talking
Wow.
about it. We were just talking about it because, listen, I think it's sort of decided who's going to win. But it's like, how do you sleep at night? I can't not vote. I know a lot of people like Mamdani. He has not ever said that he acknowledges that Hamas is a terrorist organization. And married to a Jewish person, having a Jewish father, having that in my family, I have a real problem with that.
Oh, God.
I have a real problem with that. But I also think that he's young and he's fresh and I don't know.
Wow.
This is a really
I wonder
hard
how
city.
Kathy Hochul. Yeah.
I mean,
I
Kathy
wonder how
Hochul-
Kathy Hochul feels.
Well, she's just
You know?
endorsed him. Like, that's the thing. Is
She's,
all
but will
all
she
these politicians
have
have
to come?
endorsed them so that they get reelected. I mean, and that's where I get, and maybe he'll be great. Maybe he'll be great. Maybe he will surprise us all, and I would be thrilled because New York needs some love. It really does.
But is the state then going to have to come in? Is Hochul, as the governor, going to have to come in when the city can't support all the things that he wants to do?
Yeah,
And,
I don't know.
bail him out. And then the
I
whole
don't know.
state of New York is going, what in the heck did you all do in that
But I
city?
guess- but I guess, like-
what y'all doing in that city?
Yeah, but we're also projecting what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to do. And he's going to have to learn that this is a city and it's a big state. And a lot of the stuff he's going to, if he wants it to go through, a lot of it won't. And like how to figure out how to play together. That's how our government works. If this is what
Yep,
the people
you're right.
want, I'm got to respect that. Just like in 2024 when the country went red and I woke up that next morning and was like, well, this is not what I want, but clearly a lot of you do, and I got to call up my friend and we got to start a podcast cuz I've got to acknowledge that this is what's going on, right? Like, I'm respecting the
Here we
role
are.
of government, and here we are. And I do believe that, like, when people are like, I don't vote because I don't matter, my vote doesn't count, your vote matters. Like, that's one thing that I believe in and
absolutely.
I trust in this democracy is that our vote counts. You don't like something, change it. Vote for someone different. And that, like,
Yep.
right on. That I believe in. That I trust.
And I mean, isn't this? And you're going. This is at the fundamental. Like the mayor of your city is and whether you're in Lampe, Missouri, or New York City, absolutely has the power. And your council people, or
yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that we also forget because we're so focused, not you and me, but the world or the country, is so focused on the national level. But where you get change, really get changes at your local level. Like, get involved.
100%.
Or pay attention.
Yep.
And, like, those propositions that you go into the voting booth and go, oh, my God, what is this? Those are the things that matter the most. Do you want your tax money, you're paying your money to go towards that road, or don't you? That's where your voice matters.
Okay, let's move on to maintain law and order. I think we've kind of talked about that already. Enforcing the laws. I've got on here FBI, DEA,
Oh my gosh.
ICE. I mean, that is the role of the national government. And you're right. That video you sent me was horrific to watch, and the ICE officer was let go, right?
Yes,
They
said he was
he fired?
suspended. I don't know if he's been fired or not, but he definitely was suspended. I mean, that
was it was disturbing.
It was really disturbing. And
Have you heard about the Des Moines, Iowa school district? The superintendent was arrested by ICE. On Friday, federal immigration authorities arrested the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, Iowa's largest school district. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the superintendent received a removal order from an immigration judge in 2024. And so he was arrested, though, I think Thursday of this last week. They came after him. He had a loaded gun in his car, $3,000 worth of cash, and something else, a knife. And he fled into the woods. And I mean,
What?
the superintendent of the Des Moines School District.
what?
So then it kind of went back through his, I think they looked at his LinkedIn, where he had been, and he had gotten into some trouble in some other school districts that were like Pennsylvania and Baltimore and somewhere else. And
Yikes.
You're going, how in the world did the Des Moines School Board not vet this guy? How did they not know? So, but the even more disturbing thing then is all of the people protesting in downtown Des Moines on Saturday in support of him. And I'm going, wait, are you supporting him just because ICE came after him?
Possibly.
Or do you know anything about him? That's the disturbing thing, that it's just automatic. Oh, ICE is after him. We will make him our poster child.
Jolene, you're not wrong.
That's disturbing.
That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing.
Right.
We don't investigate. We look at a snippet. We go totally effing crazy. I said effing. It's not as satisfying, you guys. But we go so crazy and we don't actually stop and go, wait, is this true? Is this not true?
Let's look at the facts.
Let me look it up.
Yep.
Let me figure out what
Yep.
I need to figure out. What do I think? Instead of, they're just like, corporations are pumping out media to piss us off.
Yep. We've said it 100 times.
100 times.
Okay. Can I go to public services? Because I think this is
Sure.
This is one that I'm going to have to come over to your side a little bit.
Well, I was going to
So,
say to you, Jolene, you mentioned the FBI thing, and I want to acknowledge that Comey has been indicted, and I don't know enough to speak about it.
Me either.
So I've just be patient with us. We've got to talkers because we understand that that is a huge issue, and we will do our best at some point to discuss it. But we want to be informed, right?
All right, going then into public services.
You were talking about
then.
services, right?
Yes. So funding, obviously, public health, welfare programs, helping those with the part of our vulnerable populations, that is the role of the government. The other one is education. Trump is really trying to get rid of the Department of Education. And this has been, I think, a Republican talking point for 20 years. To try to decentralize the money that is spent on education in America out from the bureaucracy of the federal government and get it down to where it's really going to help. I think that's what the Republicans are trying to do. So by eliminating the Department of Education as a cabinet position and that entity trying to get rid of all the waste that's involved with having a cabinet level position. Let's get that money down to the states so that that we can help hire more teachers, hire more aides, get the curriculum where it can really help the students. That's the ideal situation.
Yeah, I was like, what do you believe and what does that mean to you?
I know we all have friends who are teachers. I know from the teachers that I talk to.
Are they public school teachers? Are they charter? Are they private?
Both.
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah, I would say,
Okay.
but probably a majority are public school. But I mean, I've got a few that are private. But I think that the problem is when you start developing programs that then put more resources into the hierarchy of the programs. So then you've got a reading teacher, then you've got the director of curriculum for reading, and then you've got somebody above her on the county level or the state level, and you start building this vertical organization for helping the child read. Then I think it starts to take away from the resources that could really directly affect the students. And I see that from these conversations that they feel like there's so much money being spent on the theoretical organization of helping students that they're not getting the money. So they're hiring people to organize the programs. I mean, developing it like a business, and it's just too top heavy. And so if you were to give more of that money down to where it would help, that would be more effective.
Do you think that the Department of Education should be eliminated?
I don't know enough about it to say it should be eliminated. Right. I think there has to be some type of governing entity, and whether that's a person or a board or whatever, just to make sure that everything is being done correct, taking the federal funds that are available and distributing them. Because I think what they're doing right now is making that, I think, under the Department of Commerce or the Department of Treasury, and saying, you take that money, you take the money that we get from federal taxes, and you disperse it to the states. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, and I would love to hear from teachers what their perspective is. Teachers and administrators. I mean, I guess I'm kind of throwing administrators under the bus here. So I would love to hear from administrators what their thoughts are on this.
I mean, I do believe that the role of government is to provide a free and good education to every child. That might be very different for conservative Republican, but I think I was a child of a free public school education, and I got a really good education, and I'm so grateful.
But you were in
it.
a nice area, right? I mean, you were in a nice area of the country and of your city. You had a really good public school.
It was also the 70s. Like, there was better public schools then. I think we have neglected our public schools. And I'm not going to say that you're wrong, because I don't know, but it makes sense to me that that we're getting too caught up in the bureaucratic nonsense, and we need this consultant and that consultant and this consultant, and why aren't public schools teachers getting paid a fair wage, a livable wage?
Yes.
Like, I have friends that go into private school education so they can pay their rent, that they want to be public school teachers, but they don't make enough money to live where they're supposed to teach. And I think that that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
And is it idealistic? Maybe. But I would like all of our children to have I want them to be able to read. I want them to be able to write. I want them to be able to do math. I want them
We all want that.
Right,
I mean, right?
Right. I think
those
we
are the
do.
basics.
I think we do.
Yes,
want
everybody wants that.
I want arts programs because arts are important, and we keep cutting them out and just focusing on STEM. And I think all of those things help our children. When things go privatized and become businesses, I think it only helps the people that are running the business, and it helps the people that can afford those private schools. And then everything becomes more top heavy. No, I understand that this could be a complete opposite Republican-Democrat thing. Absolutely, I get that part. I get, but I just would like us to tend to our public schools.
Yes, everybody would agree with that the public schools need to be better,
right? And we have the money. That's my opinion. Federally, I think we have the money, and I'm not against your idea of, is there a lot of bureaucratic stuff? Is there like way too much nonsense that we don't know, you and I, like? Why is that guy who's that?
It's such a Republican. This is where I think we really come at each other, Democrats and Republicans, that the Republicans believe in school choice. And if you're an inner city kid who has a crappy school, and that's the public school that you have to go to because your parents can't afford a private school, then shouldn't you be allowed to have a voucher from the federal government instead of funding this failing school that you have to go to? Give it to the kid and say, we're going to give you this money that we would have given you to go to this crappy school, but now you take it and go to this private school or this charter school over here. Here's a voucher. I just don't know why that does not make sense. Now, I do understand, because then it doesn't. You're not helping the root problem.
You're putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
The problem.
But I'm also, just so you're
helping
Jolene,
that kid.
But I don't think Democrats or liberals are against school choice. I really don't. I think fundamentally we want good public schools. How do we do that? We have enough money to put some money into these schools and make these schools delicious. So that, what an opportunity, and maybe this is super kumbaya of me, but that this kid is like, oh my gosh, I don't know which to choose, because this school is great and this school is great. Because I feel like when you just go, well, let's give this kid this voucher and we'll put it over here, then what do we do with this dying school?
Right. But
I just don't want the schools to die. I'm not suggesting that.
Right.
I'm not suggesting punishing
any
kid.
I understand. That's the problem.
And I think that's where you and I actually come together, is we both want our children to have a good education. Because here's the other thing. If your children have good educations, they grow into grown-ups that are then there to lead our country. If we have a country filled with people that are not educated, there's an issue here. Or in a country where it's really, there's a huge discrepancy.
I think the thing about this whole conversation is, of course, we all want our public education to be great. I mean, nobody would say, no, that's not what we believe. Or, we all want clean air and clean water, and we all want good public health for everybody. I mean, I think we all agree that we want these things. It's how do we do it best? And I think where we disagree, and where there is the biggest room for conversations, are is it done by the private sector or is it done by government? Can the government take your money and use it in the best way possible? Or do we have to rely on private institutions and businesses and individuals to make America great again? Sorry.
Do you
I know
think
don't like that
money,
term.
do you think that money should go to education?
What money? Our federal tax dollars?
Yeah, our tax dollars.
Absolutely.
And do you think we should use money to make sure that our air is clean and our water is clean?
Yep.
Okay.
That is a fundamental right of an American. Right?
Okay, we agree. We agree.
Yes.
We agree.
But the question then is, who can do it better? Is it the government?
Is that the question? Or is it, do we all just get stuck in the fighting?
Well,
Because we could.
there's that.
This is where I find this exciting and frustrating all at the same time, because does this have to be a Democrat or Republican thing? Couldn't this just be an American thing that we try to figure this out? And that's where the compromise gets. Maybe, I'm just making this up. Maybe the liberals are like, I want $50 billion to go towards our public schools. And then the Republicans go, whoa, that's a little too much. How about 20 billion? Oh, and then you just figure it out. And yes, I am with you. Cut the red tape. It's too, it's like molasses.
Well, and it was like Bren, who commented on our gun control podcast, and her comments on YouTube. And listener, if you get a chance to look at her comments, she said the problem is these laws were written. They were in front of Congress to say nobody likes bump stocks. Let's get those outlawed. And the problem was then you've got these different congressmen then that put other things in these bills. They fill them full of pork for their special interests, and then you got to vote the whole bill down because there was other crap in there that made it, and so then that made it unpassable. But the narrative that gets pushed out there is they all voted against the bump stocks. About outlawing bump stocks.
I thought that was...
And that wasn't the case at all.
That's right. I thank you for bringing that up. And Bren, thank you so much. If those of you who haven't had a chance, go to our YouTube page and see our gun control episode, and you will see a lot of people had a lot of things to say. I'll tell you that on the YouTube. But Bren was like, I did not know that, Jolene. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is maddening.
Yeah.
That people write a bill that's actually about the bill. Like, knock it off, both of you. Both of you. Democrats, knock it off. Republicans, knock it off. If we want to write a bill about no more, what's it called? A bum stock? Bump
stock.
Bump stock.
BUMP.
That's it. That's
bump
it.
Stock.
Don't sneaky Pete. No more sneaky Peting. Like, just write the bill and pass the bill. And done. Write another bill for the other things that you want.
And this is the problem, too, with we're getting ready to get into a government shutdown because, again, they said, okay, let's fund the government. Here's the bill. And then everybody else started putting, well, but we want this in there and this in there and this in there. And then you're like, nope. And now we don't agree anymore.
It's maddening,
Congress,
isn't it? It's maddening.
Get your crap together.
Yeah, just stop.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I don't know if they think that it's more work for them. I don't really understand how this works. But no one's stupid. No one here is stupid. If you write a bill, write the bill about that thing. And vote yes,
and
vote no.
Be done with it.
Be done with it. Wouldn't that go faster?
The problem is, if Congressman Billy Joe Jim Bob had had a constituent in his district that really needed some money to fund this bridge, and they needed it, he can't. Nobody else is gonna in Congress is gonna vote for it because they don't think that Billy Joe Jim Bob's constituent needs it. And so the only way he can get it passed is to put it in this bill and hope that nobody sees it. Don't look at page 862, paragraph 7. And he put it in there, and so then he could say he got it passed. And then when the whole thing goes down because somebody else put something in there that was crappy, and the whole thing went down. Nobody got what they wanted.
That's right. I mean, it
Congress,
even happened.
can you fix this, please?
I mean, enough, Congress, enough. It happened with the big, beautiful bill thing where people, these people, the bill was so big, they didn't read it. And they just passed it. And then they were like, ooh, I didn't know that was in there. Here's the deal, Congress. Read it. And if you don't read it, don't vote. Or say, I need more time.
Do you remember?
It's absurd.
Nancy Pelosi said about the health care bill, about Obamacare. And she goes, that's why we need to pass the bill so that we can read to see what's in it. And everybody went, wait, what?
Oh, I don't remember that.
But that's the truth.
I mean, they're jam-packed.
It was a meme.
It was a meme. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, this is a huge topic. And we're just like...
What other things do you have? I know. I know.
What other things do I have? The only thing that I have that I sort of want to highlight, because we do talk about religion here on the We've Got to Talk podcast, is that in the Constitution... the First Amendment, Article 6, it says, the senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the state legislature and all executive and judicial powers officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. And the reason I bring that up is because in light of the Charlie Kirk assassination, I think a lot of Christians are feeling very emboldened to talk about their Christianity and their faith, which I have no problem with it. And that's part of free speech and part of, like, the reason this country was even founded was to be able to pray the way you want to pray and believe what you want to believe. But I think we forget this. And when people start talking about this being a Christian nation, it's not a Christian nation. It's a nation with lots of Christians in it. It's a nation with lots of Jews in it. It's a nation with lots of Buddhists in it and Muslims in it. And that's the beauty of this country, is that, especially in cities, we live together amongst each other and allow each other to pray or not pray. And I think that, for me, reading Article 6 was sort of an important reminder that we all belong here. Mm-hmm. And that this...
That's very nice.
Right?
Very well said.
Right, and that that it's really important to really remember that there's a separation of church and state here. And I really respect the Christians that listen to this podcast and the Christians that don't listen to this podcast. I love that about this country. I love that we can not only believe what we want to believe, but I think it's really cool that we all have so many faiths and for the most part are peaceful in this country. I think that's a beautiful thing, and that does not happen in other countries.
I just love that we were forced to go back and really evaluate what we think. We can talk about the laws that are, affecting us and things that the government specifically is doing, but if we don't really go back to the Constitution and take a look at, really understanding why we are the United States of America.
Yes.
That's where we probably need to get back to.
Yes, I'm with you.
I love that we got to talk about it.
Yeah, me too. And just a reminder, we are the United States of America. And it really doesn't feel like it right now. And we're so good right now at just being mad at each other and fighting with each other. we're all one country. And I, for one, would like to stay that way. And I know you would too, Jolene. And
Yeah,
I think we got to do better. We got to do better. Do you have a good for the soul, sweetheart?
I do, which is so funny because I've started following, and I sent this to you, I started following Bill Maher, and I don't know if he's agnostic or if he's an atheist. I think he's Jewish. I think he grew up Jewish. I don't know that he practices.
I don't think so.
But anyway, and he's not, I used to think that he was liberal, but he's, and he may still be, I don't know. But
I don't know.
He just says it like it is.
I think he's an independent.
And I love, well, I would guess that just by, he's totally
He's mad at
against
both
the
of
woke
us.
Movement.
He's mad at
I mean,
all
yes.
of us.
I mean, I think it's going to take a long time for him to really adhere to some of the things that Republicans are doing, but he is not afraid to call out Democrats and be anti-woke and saying, that the woke movement is what
he calls
kills
everybody
Democrats
out.
and blah, blah, blah. Yes, both sides, 100%. So anyway, I would just say following him has been, I sent you the latest thing that he said where he calls everyone out. So I'm just calling out, I'm giving a shout out to Bill Maher because I think that he kind of says it like it is.
Yeah. And I will put that particular video that you sent me, I will put that in the show notes so that you can understand.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
It's really great. And I love that you sent it to me, and I love that you were like, wow, he's not wrong. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And so if you're interested in what you don't know what we're talking about, go to the show notes, press on Bill Maher, press on that link and watch it. And then let us know what you think about that video for sure.
Bill Maher for president, 2028.
Oh, geez. I want
just
Mark
kidding.
Cuban for president, 2028.
Oh, God. I want Dolly Parton, 2028.
I want Dolly Parton.
We're just going to start throwing people out.
Dolly. That would just, yes, please.
What do you have? Do you have a good for the soul?
So my good for the soul, I've been thinking about this, and my good for the soul, and we've sort of said it before, but I'm going to give our listener and viewer another exercise as my good for the soul, which would be, and this is a big old challenge, and if you need to change the timing on this, I totally understand. But my suggestion to you is the next time that you're feeling anxious and you want to reach for the phone, I'm encouraging you to put your phone down for an hour and walk outside that door and take a walk. For an hour.
Not if it's 3 a.m.
No. That's
a lot
true.
of times I wake up at 3 a.m. and,
Okay,
and
sorry.
have anxiety.
I'm going to suggest this is an exercise to do in daylight hours. Daylight hours.
Okay, all right.
But just starting to pay attention to not only that need for the dopamine hit that doesn't make you feel very good, but also just for those of you who are young and have no idea what it was like to have life without a phone, use that exercise. And for those of us that do remember it, just that gentle reminder of, oh my gosh, thank you, we've got to talk. That half an hour, that was nice. That made me feel a little bit better.
That is good.
All right, I'm going to do my Would You Rather first because you have been fucking around, yes, Linda, fucking around with Chat GPT. And so I know mine's going to be lame and yours is going to be crazy. So I'm going to go first, okay? Because mine is boring and I don't use AI because I'm a Luddite. All right, here we go. Where is it? Give me 1 second. All right. Would you rather be able to take back anything you say or hear any conversation that is about you?
Oh my gosh, you know what I'm going to pick. I need to take back anything that I can say. But that's also because I don't want to know. I want to
who
live
would want to know?
in my own little world where I think, everybody likes me And
Yeah.
so,
It's pretty nice
and I
life
don't
there.
want to know any differently. It's like I'd like to get a mirror that makes me look 15 pounds thinner and just go, I don't care. I want to, that's the last look I want to look at as I walk out of my bedroom and go, this is what everybody else sees all day long.
Yeah.
Not the reality.
The beautiful
I just
reality
wanna
of
think
you.
that that's what everybody sees. Yeah, this is how I look all the time, even if it's
It
not
is
true.
how you look.
Okay, here's yours.
Okay.
Stop it. Thank you, dear.
Embracing myself. Chat GPT, be good
I
to
mean,
me.
these are so funny. I'm going to send them to you.
No, don't. Just tell me them.
Would you rather have a government that shows up to every meeting in a clown costume or one that never shows up at all, leaving you to run the country with a rubber chicken?
I want to run the country with a rubber
What?
chicken. I want to run the country with a rubber chicken. I'm not even sure what that means.
Okay. Wait, here's another one.
Okay.
I know. I don't either. Would you rather have a government that insists on rewriting all street signs every week or one that thinks stoplights are optional suggestions?
Oh my God. Definitely not the stop signs or optional suggestions. That's terrifying. Being in New York City, just walking down the street, you have to really watch where you're going with between the cars and the electric bikes and the which should never be allowed in my opinion, and the bikes and all the things. You want those traffic lights to work. All right, what's the last one?
I don't feel like anybody watches them anyway, are they? Okay, wait, I've got two more because these are really good.
Okay.
Would you rather have a government that tries to solve climate change by making everyone wear hats indoors or one that says deal with it while it rains cats and dogs?
I'd wear a hat indoors. I love a hat. Let's solve climate change. Listen, ChatGPT, I have to say.
Oh my gosh, that's all it took.
But you do way better. This is just a testament that you and your brain do way better would you rathers than ChatGPT, which makes me really happy.
You don't like these? Oh.
They're not as
Okay,
funny
here's
as
the last
yours.
one. Would you
Okay.
rather have a government? Oh my gosh. Would you rather have a government that emails you 17 times a day about tiny rules or one that only communicates by smoke signals?
Smoke signals. Emails, people don't read. Listen, how many times have you sent an email and nobody fucking reads it? Yes, Linda, nobody reads it.
Yes.
Smoke signals would absolutely
True.
be more effective. All right, girl. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you, listener. Thank you for listening and watching us. We appreciate you. Please let us know what you think. We love your feedback. Honestly, good and bad. We love it. You keep us on our toes. You keep
absolutely.
you keep us thinking about the things that are important to you. So please listen and watch wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, and please share as well, because we are a community where you are all welcome. And we want to be able to challenge ourselves and you on how do we talk to each other and listen to each other and be curious and be kind and figure this out together. We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.